it's Betsy, and today we have a fun video. We're gonna go over my top 10 spring palettes. Now, not all of these you might think of off the bat as being spring palettes, but these are the kind of colors that I love during spring. Now, I've used 4 different ones on my eyes today, so that way I could kind of show you what I was thinking, because, you know, I love color. I love springtime because it's when all the flowers are blooming and there's so much inspiration outside, so it definitely makes me happy. And look how cute these earrings are. They're from Sugar Fix. This is the bubble bar stuff that they sell at Target. The flamingos, I am dying. So let's start off with one that I know several people have chose, and that is the Tiny Marbles. Now, this palette is in collaboration between Mel Thompson and Sydney Grace, and I love the artwork on it. The artist that drew this is one of Mel Thompson's friends, and he's a tattoo artist, I think. So it's got like all the little bugs, which I love. I love butterflies, I love ladybugs, I love dragonflies. Now, not all the creepy ones that are all on here, like the spiders and stuff, but the other stuff, yes, I think is cute. So when you open her up, this is a beautiful spring color story. Plus, it's also beautiful, you know, you can do neutrals and things like that with it. Sydney Grace has an amazing matte formula, and they also have an amazing shimmer formula. This shade right here, I love a good yellow. This shade BB is a beautiful, beautiful yellow shimmer. And to me, doing BB with the shade Mantis, tell me that doesn't just scream spring. And you can even deepen it up with the shade Spider, which is more of like it's to me a good true neutral brown. Like that would make a beautiful simple eye look. But yeah, I really like this. So this would be one that I would recommend. Now, I do know that especially if you live outside the United States, my friend lives in Canada, and because these palettes are magnetic and there's a giant magnet here in the back of it, these can cost a little bit more in shipping, just so you know. But yeah, I love it. And just so you know, these aren't any really particular order. These are just ones that color stories that really speak to me. Next up, that is the Sigma Enchanted palette. So when you open her up, it has some really beautiful shimmers, and this is more of a neutral leaning palette, but to me what makes it unique are the shimmer shades in here. Like this shade Metamorphosis and Cosmos, like I love a good green. And the mattes in here are just, they are super soft. So this is Metamorphosis, this is Cosmos, this matte is Innocent and Claystone. But you see, they swatch beautifully. Now, they're not as pigmented as the Sydney Grace, but they definitely build up. And if you look, at those shimmers, okay, so looking at the Sydney Grace, it is very wet, metallic looking. Okay, there's not a lot of sparkle to it. Now, if you look at the Sigma shades, they have a little bit more glitter. They're a little bit drier formula, but to me, they have like this beautiful sparkle element that I really love. So, Sigma Enchanted to me is a great spring palette. Next up, you know I love Mama Pat. We couldn't have a ranking without including a Pat McGrath palette. And this is the Celestial Divinity palette. So this is what she released at Christmas time, and this I think retailed for $78, which for Mama Pat is not expensive. And it has 18 shades. Now, it doesn't have any of her super special shades, but it is still gorgeous. And I love this for like these really beautiful pink shimmers. There's not many mattes, but the mattes in here are divine. So, I don't know what the shade names are because I didn't keep the insert. But you can see just how beautifully those swatched. And they have some dimension to them. Like, I don't know about y'all, but for spring, I love a good florally kind of tone. And I really adore pinks, but like if you see that top shade, you can, yeah, see that shift in it? It's great. It is so pretty. So, I definitely like that one. Next up, I'm sure y'all have seen me mention in other rankings, and this is my favorite ColourPop palette probably of all time. And this is the Sweet Talk palette. This is the Coral palette. I don't remember what year it came out. I think it's still available. And as you can see, that is pan. Now I do know that that's a pressed glitter, but this is the first shade I have ever hit pan on any eyeshadow in my entire life. I'm just not, like, I've always had a lot of eyeshadow and I've never been like hardcore digging into eyeshadow. So that should tell you something. But this color story with this coral vibe is so pretty. So like, see how that's one of the Super Shocks. Let me show you that pressed glitter. And then like these corally orange tones. Look at that. Tell me that doesn't scream spring. I adore this palette. So I definitely like it. And to me, it's a really good coral palette, and it is more, and one of the things I do like about this is that it is more orange leaning than pink leaning. Because a lot of times when you get corals, they can be really pink toned, which I like, but sometimes you want more of like that orangey tone. And this kind of color story is flattering on so many different eye shapes and colors. It just works so well. So I like that. And it still is a great quality palette. I mean, I've had it, I think at least 3 years. Could be longer, but I've had it a long time. Next up, this is the Juice by JUVIAS Place. I'm not sure if this one's still available, but again, I love it for these springy, beautiful tones. Like this green right here called Macaroons. I love that. I love these types of tones. And custard. Like, I love a purple, pinky kind of vibe that you're not sure if which one it is. And then puffs is like this most beautifully magical baby pink white kind of shade. So you see what I'm saying? Like, this is a great color story. I really enjoy it, and to me, it's, some people think that this is too pastel. I don't think that this is too pastel, at least not in my opinion. So I definitely love the Juice. Now, one thing I will tell you is that these are in no particular order, because all of these palettes I adore as springtime palettes. And it was very hard to choose because, you know, I love a lot of eyeshadows. So we're through with 5, and we've got 5 left. So this is a newer palette to my collection. This is the LA Girl Main Stage, and I really like this palette, especially for like the quality for the price of it. I think this palette was like $16.99, and you can get it at Ulta, and it's always on sale. But it has some beautiful tones in it. Like this green is lovely, and so is this green shimmer. Together, I mean, you can see that these, like, this would make a beautiful look. Excuse me, but you see how beautiful those shimmers are, just great. Now, if you look, that pinky purple shade didn't swatch the best, but the nice thing about it is these actually built up, and I did a whole video on this palette, and the shades were actually quite impressive, especially for the price range. So I would definitely recommend checking it out. And they have a couple of other ones. I just got a new one to do a review on, but yeah, I mean, the quality in these has been extremely impressive, at least from my standpoint. So that is the LA Girl Main Stage. Next up is the Huda Beauty Mercury in Retrograde. I'm actually wearing one of the shades right now on my eyes, which is this deeper purple called Vortex. That's what I have on the outer corner of my eye. But this whole color story to me just screams spring. And I love, look at that. The shimmers in here. This is probably some of my favorite Huda Beauty shimmers. They're just beautifully reflective. They have nice sparkle to them. And then the mattes on top of that are fantastic. Like, look at that. And I'll show you the other color that I have on my eye. Now that purple, again, doesn't seem like it swatches well, but purples don't always swatch well for me, but how it performed on the eye was beautiful. So, I really like Huda Beauty's formula. I like her shimmers. I wish that she would come out with some more inventive color stories, but you know, this is definitely an A+ palette. And you know, the thing is with this too, is it's also neutral enough that if you are a neutral person, you could play with bringing in some color. And to me, like these rosy tones and stuff like that, those are a neutral in my book. I definitely like to use them as a neutral. Next up, this is the Adept Cosmetics Plain Jane palette. Now, I adore Adept's ACI formula. This palette is nothing but the ACI formula. This is what I have on my inner corner. This is the ACI 17. Look how shiny and reflective that looks. Isn't that gorgeous? Look at that. Look at that shift. And like in certain lights, you can't even tell it's there, and then it's like bam, green, bam, pink. And then we have ACI 21. I love this hot pink shade. Look at that. And as you can see, like they are a really wet formula. ACI 11. And if you have a lot of mattes, to me getting a palette kind of like Plain Jane, it definitely is worth it because you can add some special without spending a fortune. Now I think this palette right now is $68, so it's expensive. It might be $63. But if you take on average, you know, whenever you're buying special shades, like if as singles, a lot of times they're $10 each. Well, there's 10 shades in here, right? No, or 12 shades in here. You would spend over that. You would spend almost double that to be able to get enough singles for this. So I definitely think that if you're wanting to try special shades, it is definitely the way to go. And I really do love Adept's formula. I mean, look at that. How can you not? Perfect. Perfect. Next up is definitely another new one to my collection, and this is the Clarity So Mermazing palette. Now, I will tell you honestly that I didn't pick this for the mattes because the mattes, they performed good. They're just too pale for me. I don't go for pastels that are this light. Definitely that's not the saving grace for it. But what is and what I love about it is these darn shimmers. This one, Call Me on My Cell Phone, Shell Phone. I love the puns. Beach Please. I washed up like this. I washed up like this all over my lid. Oh, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? And the shifts, you can see the shifts on those. That is stunning. And to me, this one, this is the Don't Be Selfish and Oh Ship. They're both so unique. The Don't Be Selfish is such a really beautiful, beautiful yellow. And Oh Ship, it like that corally green. I don't know. Like the shimmers to me, again, are what make it special. And there's 5 of them in here. This palette retails for $48. So in my opinion, and this is my opinion only, if I could find a formula that had like this kind of shift and sparkle to it as singles, I would gladly pay $10 a piece for them. So even though the mattes aren't my favorite because of color, not because of performance, I definitely love the shimmers. Like, I don't know. The shimmers are so pretty and great. I love it. I'm starting to look like a sparkly mermaid or a Twilight vampire. I am excited. But yeah, I love it. next up, and last but certainly not least, which is where I have most of my mattes from, is the Glenlight Ice Cream Dream palette. Now, to me, this palette definitely screams spring. Look at this. And that's beautiful. And again, you got a lot of neutral tones to this palette. And on my eyes today, I have mochi, bubblegum, raspberry, and black cherry. So the shimmers are beautiful. They aren't, some of them aren't like that super wet formula that I love, but they do have like, some of them are. Like you can see like the shade underneath, what shade was that one? The salted caramel to me is much prettier, and so is strawberry than taro, however you say that. But the mattes in here are phenomenal. So like we've got bubblegum. Look at that. I mean, that picked up wonderful. This is black cherry, pistachio, because you know I love a good green. But look, I mean, they show up. So I definitely enjoy this palette. So I'm excited. But hopefully that lets you know what I like and kind of what you can do to add something to it. Now, if you own a lot of eyeshadow palettes, you know, let me know down below what your favorite spring palette is, because I am interested in hearing. But I guess that's it. We post new videos typically Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I'm starting to add 2 p.m. on Saturday lives, so don't forget to check that out. But I guess that's it, so we shall see y'all later. Bye.